On court central today, though, we're interested in the matches with Anke Huber as she takes on the number 2 seed Steffi Graf. That's followed by Yevgeny Kafelnikov, who takes on the young Italian Alex Correia. And Mary Pierce does battle with Eva Maioli. There's Betsy Nagelson. And Betsy, that first match there with Anke Huber, Steffi Graf, that is just a very difficult one for Huber.
Well, it really is. I mean, growing up in the same country as Steffi Graf, idolizing her becomes a huge psychological hurdle for her to get a win over her. She hasn't been able to do it yet. She has taken one set off of Steffi Graf, but, you know, Graf is short of match play, and it's very, very heavy today. So if she does not have a very good day, Steffi Graf, Anke Huber could give her more problems than Steffi wants.
And also, Steffi's been suffering from lower back problems, and on a cool, damp day today, that may play a part in it. The next match, though, Mary Pierce and Eva Maioli, that should be a good one.
And it's women's singles to start out the action here on Court Central. Steffi Graf and Anke Huber, who played on this same court some years ago. And that was in the semi-final, won by Steffi Graf easily. In fact, she's only ever lost one set in 8 meetings to Anke Huber. And that has got to be a part of the story of this match, doesn't it, Betsy?
Oh, there's no question this match is really all about that. In terms of their talent, I think the gap is narrowing, but this match is much more about being for Anke Huber being able to erase the imprint of not being able to beat her countrywoman. I mean, she grew up in the shadow of Steffi Graf, idolizing her, and it's she's gotten a little bit closer with time, but it's a battle for her.
It's a tough mental battle, isn't it, when you've got somebody who dominated women's tennis to the extent that Graf did. In fact, if on this same court she had beaten Sanchez Vicario that year, and I'm trying to remember the 89, I'll look it up for you, it would have been 2 Grand Slams in a row. The only one that she didn't win for the second Grand Slam with this one. Nobody's ever done that.
Well, this is the first time in 4 years as we take a look at the menu on Court Central today. Some pretty good-looking matches going on.
Kafelnikov is one tremendous player, and I know we're going to see some of him, and I know you'll enjoy watching him play, but every shot in the book is kind of a Russian Michael Stich, to tell you the truth. And if he wins that match, he'll be playing against Andre Agassi, and that'll be a test for him, as I've already said. Then you've got Mary Pierce and Eva Maioli, 2 fine players in the women's field, and then Medvedev and Muster. That will be a war, no less. Best of 5 sets. For Court A, you start out there. You can see Fred's already mentioned to you, Conchita Martinez will be playing in that one against Sarah Zanetti, and then you've got Wojnea and Becker, and there's the rest of it. Costa and Courier as well. That's going to be another war because they are basically clay courters as well. Courier's won this thing a couple of times, and Alberto Costa, though, from Spain, is a tremendous clay court player. So for Courier, this will be a major test. Nobody's talking about Jim Courier, and he could win the whole thing. He's one of just a few players left in the field that has ever won the French championships. One of them is Michael Chang, of course, and Sergi Bruguera, the other one. Back to Anke Huber. Basically, describe her game for me, Betsy. She's a clay courter. She hits the ball hard. She's, you know, one of those ground strokers who really punishes it.
She does. She hits the ball very hard off both sides. She takes the ball very early. She doesn't move as well as perhaps some of the other quicker players on the women's tour. And Steffi Graf has been complaining in her previous couple of matches about a lack of patience, trying to finish points a little bit too quickly. And Anke Huber's job is to keep the ball in play as long as she can. And the court is a bit heavy. It's taken a lot of rain, so it does slow the conditions down. Steffi Graf comes into this year's Roland Garros for the first time in 4 years without a Grand Slam title. To her credit, she missed this year's Australian Open. She had had chronic back problems that troubled her toward the end of last year. That one just missing, and she had gotten her back to much better. She had spent an awful lot of time rehabilitating that very frustrating and serious back injury, and then she worked so hard that she had pulled a calf muscle and wasn't able to compete at the Australian Open this year. So this is the first Grand Slam she has played since the U.S. Open last year.
No slouch of that two-handed backhand down the line that is so tough to pick, and we've got in this game. 15-30. Just looking ahead at the draw, Betsy, Steffi Graf is in the same section with Gabriela Sabatini and then Conchita Martinez before the final, let's say. Is she the clear favorite here?
Steffi Graf?
Yes.
She's definitely not a clear favorite. She's hard to bet against, but Conchita Martinez really does seem to be the one that has dominated coming in this year on the clay surface. Hasn't dropped a match yet. Steffi Graf also has not lost a match this year. She's won 4 tournaments. She's only played 1 clay tournament. That was almost 7 weeks ago, and that was a green clay in Houston. She won that. She tried to play Berlin, but had to pull out. She had the flu.
Game point.
So Steffi Graf has not had any matches on this surface.
How different is the European clay? I've been saying that the ball bounces higher and it's a little quicker, the U.S. type clay. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and I think the red clay actually varies from place to place. For example, the clay in Italy is a bit different than the clay here. The clay in Hamburg and Berlin is different than Italy. But game point for Steffi Graf. But the red clay is slower than the green clay that is played on in America, that Steffi Graf won her tournament in Houston. You have to work very hard on this surface to win points.
Game point, Graf, first game.
Some big hitting from Anke Huber. And if Steffi drops the ball short like this in the middle of the court, Huber knows what to do with it.
That is long, and here's a break point chance as Graf goes down, and she's going to wipe her left hand off. She balanced her fall, what would have been a fall, by putting her left hand on the clay. Break point for Huber, first game. So there's the break as Anke Huber tries to climb this mental mountain of beating Steffi Graf for the first time. She has a break. First game, first set. More on. Second game, Huber about to serve to Graf. She has a break, 1 game to love. This is first set, best of 3.
Some heavy hitting right now from Anke Huber. Takes the ball very early and will hit through this fairly heavy and slow red clay, as it has taken quite a bit of rain over the last couple of days.
Steffi Graf has dominated women's tennis. I think it's fair to say that. In fact, I was trying to think just in my mind of who had dominated to the extent that she has for so long. Before her, I guess it was Chris and Martina. And then you had Sellis, but for a very short time. Even in the men, the last one that really dominated to that extent was Yvonne Lendl, I suppose.
Yeah, Steffi Graf was absolutely unbeatable toward the beginning of last year. With shots like that, she was totally dominating the game at the beginning of last year, winning 6 of the first 7 tournaments. And that is the shot that she has built all of her success around, the forehand.
40-15. It goes back to 1987 when she won the French Championship for the first time. And then in 88, she won the Grand Slam. And then in 89, it was 89, she lost the final here at Roland Garros to Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, but won every other Grand Slam.
Good play from Steffi Graf there. Steffi Graf has won every Grand Slam at least 3 times. She moves so well, so athletic, does a good job to get to this one, and is alert enough to hold it and play the lob volley winner.
Game point for Huber still. And game, so it's 2 games to love Huber. Talking about Graf's dominance still. After Monica Seles was stabbed in '93, she won all 3 of the other Grand Slams, the French, Wimbledon, and the US. She lost in the final to Seles at the Australian. Otherwise, that would have been another slam.
That's a quick glimpse of the Huber camp. Her coach, Jose Lopez Masso, right there in the front row. It was a huge shock when Steffi Graf arrived at Roland Garros with only 1 loss. That was to Sanchez Vicario in Hamburg. And she was absolutely stunned by Mary Pierce in the semifinals. She only won 4 games. And she followed that up with a first-round loss at Wimbledon to Laurie McNeil, the dangerous and effective grass court player.
It was in the first round, wasn't it?
First round, yeah. Losing a first round had not happened in... Steffi Graf. You would think this surface would be forgiving to her back, but she says the surface is actually more physically demanding and painful to her. The back that she really has to pay a lot of attention to. She avoided playing purposely a lot of the clay court events. She wanted to be as fit as she could coming into Roland Garros. She had wanted to play at least 1 Berlin, and she wasn't able to because she had flu quite seriously. She was only able to practice for about 10 days before the Roland Garros started.
That is going to be just long. And it could have been another break point for Huber, and she's got the break already.
That is Anke Huber's coach, Jose Lopez Masso. She used to work, Anke Huber, with Boris Breskvar, who is working with Andre Medvedev at the moment. Andre Medvedev and Anke Huber have been an item for quite some time.
Game point Graf. And she is on the board, 2 games to 1. Huber with a break. She will serve. Huber will after we take a break. More from Stade Roland Garros. Here's one way to get around Paris, by boat. You can enjoy a good meal there. You can go into those things at night as well, and they shine the lights up to the fantastic buildings and architecture of what is Paris. They also live on houseboats here as well. What a life. As a matter of fact, one year during the Paris indoor, they took players by boat along the Seine from their hotel to the Bercy Arena. Well, this is not Bercy. This is the site of the French Championships. It started Roland Garros. It's live coverage here of women's singles from Court Central. 2-1 Anke Huber leading. She's playing Steffi Graf. Graf has won the first point of this game. Huber serving. It's love 15-1 Huber.
Graf got broken in her opening service game. So she immediately went down 2-love. And now she's looking at a chance here, small chance here at love 30 to try to get the break back.
Boy, that's nice. What do you tell Anke Huber if she has, she's playing somebody she's never beaten in 8 tries and is like that, is a major superstar. She watches again. What do you say to Huber?
Yeah, she's had a couple of close matches. She took a set off of her last year at the championships. There is Steffi Graf's mom, who there's only there's one person short in the Graf camp. Her coach, Heinz Guntart, is not here. He had to leave yesterday. His mother-in-law is not well, and so he had to leave Steffi and go back to his in-laws in Sweden.
30-all.
And it was actually Steffi's good friend Renee Stubbs who is still here in the doubles. In fact, they're the 7th seeds who warmed Steffi up today.
Game point Huber up next here on this Court Central. Kafelnikov, Korecha, and then Mary Pierce and Eva Majoli later, and then Medvedev, Muster. This is just the first match of the day, about half an hour from the time that they got onto the court, about 15 minutes from the time that they hit first ball. Deuce. And now a break point for Graf. Huber has never won the first set against Graf in their 8 meetings so far. As I mentioned, she only won 1 set. That was the middle set on a carpet. That was a dangerous play, the drop shot, because Graf wasn't that far back and she took advantage of it. She's got the break back.
I think Steffi Graf walks out on this court really knowing that Anke Huber can't hurt her 2 out of 3 sets, and she can hang in there, she can chase balls down, and the whip backhand winner, and that's something that Steffi Graf works so hard to be able to produce in matches, that topspin backhand. And that's the type of play that Graf will want to use. If she can really open up the court like that with some short angles, it'll expose the lack of mobility of Anke Huber. She likes to move along the baseline. She moves side to side very well. Moving a little bit forward is more difficult.
15 love. In my opinion, Graf uses that topspin backhand less now than she did when she won her Grand Slam and nearly a second Grand Slam. And I think it's a mistake. I think she should use it more. The only time you see her use it now really much is on the attempted passing shot. 30 love.
Anke Huber doing a good job of returning serve offensively. So a couple of times in this match, she has dictated and controlled the point right off the return.
30-15. All. The middle Sunday of this 14-day event.
It's good play from Graf here as she takes control of this high ball, doesn't let it push her too deep. It wasn't deep enough for Huber. So a game point for Steffi Graf. Good play from Anke Huber. You can see Huber hits the ball flatter. And it doesn't clear the net as high as some of Graf's, and she's really penetrating some of these ground strokes and putting Graf on the defensive. And follow that up very well. She's got to take charge of some of these big ground strokes that she's hitting. Steffi Graf tends to use her backhand topspin much more on a faster surface, where she's almost forced to instinctively play it. She likes to hug the baseline. Sometimes on a slower court, she tends to get pushed back a little bit too far.
Graf holds on, not easily though. 3-2 Graf on serve. Now let's go over to Fred and Mary and check in on Conchita Martinez at court A. Fred.
It's set point over here on court A. Serving is Adriano Zanetti. Boy, is she getting killed out here. This match is only 16 minutes old. She's down love 5, love 40. Conchita Martinez is playing terrific ball. Hello. There's another one.
Martinez only lost 2 sets this year on clay, and one of them was at the Italian.
Welcome back to our coverage of the French Open Championships. Stade Roland Garros is where this is all happening. It's right next to the beautiful city of lights, Paris, France. Virginia Ruana Pascal of Spain trailing Ruxandra Dragomir of Romania 2-1 on court number 1. That's a 4th round match. They're also playing for a shot at the last 8 of this year's French Championships. Now back to court central. Steffi Graf leading 3-2. Huber is serving. It's deuce in this game. So we've rejoined it at a big moment for Huber. Remember, she broke Graf the first game of the match. Now we're on serve.
Graf making a lot of errors. I mean, she's trying to use some variety in her play. She's trying to hit some high balls. She's trying to keep the slice either wide and cross court or deep, but she's making the error. She's trying to keep the ball out of the Huber hitting zone, who likes pace.
Anke Huber is 20 years old, and she has held on, and it's 3 games all. She was born and lives in Germany. She's ranked number 11 in the world. Graf is ranked number 2. She's 25 and serving at 3-all.
Anke Huber has been a very consistent performer. She broke into the top 10 in '92, and she has stayed very close to the top 10 ever since then.
Love 30, Graf still lists her home as Brule, Germany, but she has places in New York, and I guess she spends a lot of time down in South Florida as well.
Well, she does. She's likes that area. She stays there when she plays Lipton. She also likes New York. She has an apartment there, stays there during the U.S. Open.
15-30, first set, 3 games all, big point.
Graf would like a few more big first serves like that. That went in at over 100 miles per hour. Now Graf is in trouble again on her serve. She got broken the opening service game, 15-40 now. And another double fault.
So there is the break for Huber, the second break of the day. She's been broken once. She will serve leading 4 games to 3. Midway through the French Championships for 95, Conchita Martinez, the number 4 seed, has not lost a game yet against Sarah Zanetti of Italy. 6-2 and 2 love she leads. And then Ruxandra Dragomir has a 4-1 lead. That's 1 breaker serve over Virginia Ruana Pascal of Spain. Back to Court Central with a break. Anke Huber serving, love 15. She's playing Steffi Graf, the number 2 seed for this year's French. Next up for the winner of this will be Kyoko Nagatsuka or Gabriela Sabatini in the next round. That'll be a quarterfinal. That match, by the way, will be played on court number 1, second match after the Dragomir Ruana Pascal match on court 1. Sabatini seated number 8.
That was a quick glimpse of Michael Graf, Steffi's brother. So just like that, 3 errors from Anke Huber, and it's triple break point. Huber has been able to break Graf's serve twice. And Graf has only broken once.
Wasn't he dating Stephanie Rahe at one point, and they said that if the 2 of them got married, there'd be another Steffi Graf?
Yeah, but that did not happen, as Michael Graf is married, and it is not to Stephanie Rahe.
15-40, break point. Sails off the backhand, and still break point for Graf.
There's Renee Stubbs, who warmed up Steffi Graf earlier today. Heinz Guntart had to go back to Sweden to look after his ill mother-in-law. Renee Stubbs is the 7th seed in the doubles here and still in with her partner Manon Bolagraf.
Good. So is that one. So there's the break back for Graf. They have traded breaks twice now, and it's 4 games all in the first set. Heinz Günther, by the way, is from Switzerland, and he was an excellent doubles player himself.
This is one of the best points of the match so far. Both players, Steffi using the entire court and really opening up well there. She's got to continue to stay close to that baseline. She's had some unforced errors off that backhand side, the backhand slice. Back on serve.
A lot of unforced errors, Betsy, in this match, haven't there been?
Yeah, well, that's typical of the way Graf plays the game. It's a very, very aggressive and high-risk game, so she'll make a lot of errors. But she also makes a lot of winners, and it's balancing it out, and it's usually off the forehand side.
Graf has 15 unforced errors. Huber has 13 so far. Low. In 8 games, that's a lot of unforced errors.
Steffi Graf has been known to win matches in big matches with very, very high numbers in the unforced error categories.
Low.
Sun has decided to come out. It's been a very strange day. It was very heavy and dark and overcast earlier. Now that's more like the Steffi Graf we've been so used to seeing. Terrific point there. Good drop shot. Huber does a good job to get to it, but Graf, who is standing well inside the baseline, takes this one so early that doesn't allow Huber enough time to cover it. Foot speed is not Anke Huber's asset, but she moves pretty well on the surface. She grew up on it and slides well, instinctively well.
30 low. I think Graf is aggravated by the fact that Huber hits back every first serve that is long.
Once again.
You've already mentioned Graf, because of a pulled calf muscle, when she was trying to get back into shape, could not play the Australian. Her first tournament was in Paris. She beat the Australian champion, Mary Pierce, in the final there. Then she won Del Rey on a hard court against Conchita Martinez in the final. That was before Key Biscayne. She won the Lipton over Kimiko Date, and then she won, again, as you've already mentioned, the Houston tournament. So she hasn't lost a match all year.
Once again.
Steffi Graf probably shouldn't have played in the Slims Championships toward the end of last year, where she lost to Mary Pierce. She was not well at all, but you know, it was such a big occasion that she couldn't pass it up. Something she's played almost every year since she's been a pro.
Graf holds on, so she leads 5 games to 4 now. She hasn't led in this set, has she? This is the first match on Court Central today. It's Anke Huber of Germany and her countrywoman, the number 2 seed here, Steffi Graf. Arantxa Sanchez Vicaria is the top seed, and she's having a very easy time of it on Court A against Sera Zanetti of Italy.
wild miss from Anke Huber after she had set the point up well.
Big point too. Love 15 at 4-5. Anke Huber lost to Mary Pierce, who went on to win the Australian, as we've already mentioned. She went out to Lindsay Davenport in Tokyo, and she lost in Del Rey to Steffi Graf. She's playing now. Martina Hingis beat her in Hamburg.
Yeah, that was one of Hingis's big wins over a top 10 player.
0-3.
Huber was ranked at 9 at the time, and Martina Hingis beat her. So another double fault from Anke Huber and some frustration setting in.
Following on that missed overhead that she should have made.
Yeah.
Love 30. Set points for Graf. And she didn't have to do this the old-fashioned way. She was just handed it on a plate. Missed overhead, double fault, and then an easy shot missed.
One saved with a good deep wrong footing shot to Graf.
Still set point. That's called wide. There is the first set to Steffi Graf, and Anke Huber has not got to be feeling very well now, because she had a chance. She had a break, and then she got another break. There's a look at their serves.
You can see how much longer Graf keeps her head up. It really goes after the serve.
Conchita Martinez over Sera Zanetti of Italy, 6-love and 5-love, and then Dragomir over Ruana Pascal, 5-2 in the first set with a break.
There's Heidi Graf, who was around at most of the big tournaments, supporting her daughter Steffi.
First game, second set, 15-love. Yeah, she's all frustrated now. As we've said before, in case you just joined us, we'll repeat that they've played against each other 8 times. And in those matches, Huber has only won 1 set.
Graf coming in, and you can see Huber's got such an excessive Western forehand grip, and the same on the backhand, that any of these low balls, it's very difficult for her to dig out. And the wide ones, too. That swinging wide serve is very effective against Huber, who's got that awkward grip. She likes the ball a little bit closer to her.
Graf wins the first game of the second set. She won the first set 6-4. Let's go over to court A. Mary Carrillo and Fred Stolle. Mary.
Cliff, set 2 is much closer here than set 1 was. Sera Zanetti won only 5 points in the first set. She's won 11 points here. In fact, she's even got a game against Conchita Martinez, the number 4 seed. Martinez now serving at 5-1, 15-love.
Conchita Martinez.
Welcome back to Court Central, everybody. Steffi Graf here and Anke Huber. Huber leading 40-15 in this game, but she's down a set and down 1 game. Now 40-30. Just a reminder that the first winner of the day in the women's singles, Conchita Martinez, the number 4 seed, easily. And up next there on court A, Becker to complete his match with Adrian Voinier of Romania. And Voinier leads at 2-0. Pressure is on Becker today.
Jeu, Mademoiselle Huber. Un jeu parfait.
So 1 game all here, and that's the 18th on forced error from Steffi Graf. Anke Huber is making Graf play. Huber's, you know, she knows how to win some big matches. She's got wins over a lot of top players. Sanchez Vicario, Mary Jo Fernandez.
You don't get to be ranked number 11 in the world without a few big wins, do you?
Remember her first big win came back in '91. She beat Martina Navratilova. She was unseeded in that tournament. It's something like the first time in 8 years that Navratilova had lost to an unseeded player. And later that year, Anke Huber was nominated as the most improved player by the WTA.
She's been in a couple of quarterfinals at the Australian, but the best Grand Slam result is right here at the French Championships. And she lost to Steffi Graf in the semis 2 years ago.
Yeah, she lost badly, too, in that semifinal match.
15-30, a chance for Huber.
And again, the serve, the wide serve set that one up. An effective serve gets Huber in that awkward position with that grip. She likes the ball a little bit closer to her. So a game point here for Graf. See, this match is 48 minutes old.
Graf holds on. She leads 1-0, 2 games to 1 on serve in the second set. Anke Huber will serve after they take a seat. The weather is held off for the moment here at the French Championships, Roland Garros today. Paris is seeing some sun, but not too much, and that's been true this whole week. Steffi Graf and Anke Huber battling it out. Graf leading 2 games to 1. Adrian Voinier and Boris Becker are about to start their match in court A, as we've already mentioned. Becker is trailing that by 2 sets, 6-3 and 6-4.
Anke Huber just started off this game with her 4th double fault. She broke Graf a couple of times in the first set. You can hear that's Graf complaining to herself. She's frustrated because she is, in her opinion, she's such a perfectionist and she is so critical of herself. She will not be pleased when she walks off the court after today. Anke Huber's last tournament win was Philadelphia toward the end of last year. And in her first round, she beat Jennifer Capriati, who had come back. That was her only appearance after her quite long absence from the tour. And she has yet to come back and play again. That was a tough match as well. It was a 3-set match. Anke Huber went on to win that tournament. Beat Sabatini in the semis and Pierce in the finals. She got it.
40-15 Huber. Do you think we'll see Capriati back this year?
I don't think so. As much as we all would like to see Jennifer Capriati back, she was better at 14 than most anyone we've ever seen. But it's hard to tell whether she'll be back or not. But I don't think so.
Game point, Huber. 40-30, Huber. 2 games to 1 Graf and 1 set to love. She won the first 6-4. She broke Huber 3 times in the first set.
A lot of German going on out there today. Both players complaining to themselves. Covers over that ball. She just didn't get behind it that time. Graf will make you work very hard. The ball comes with a lot of pace. Missed it. It sets up a break point for Graf. She's already got a 2-1 lead here in the second set.
I have the feeling that Anke Huber gets to a certain point and then she's just looking for something to go wrong. She plays very negatively when she plays Graf, whom she's never beaten. And then when it goes wrong, she sort of says to herself,
yeah.
See, I knew it was going to go wrong. Clip the line. No, called it wide, called it late, and Anke Huber is going to challenge it, and so she should. Donna Butler from Australia is in the chair. She's got out to check the mark, and the crowd don't agree with what the mark that they're looking at. Yeah, they'll play 2, I think.
You can see what a clear mark the ball leaves on this surface.
Well, it's a crucial stage of the match. This is break point for Graf at 2-1. Play it again, Sam. Well, go through all that aggravation just to serve another double fault, and she loses the serve anyway. 3 games to 1 Graf. Ruxandra Dragomir and Virginia Ruana Pascal of Spain. Dragomir won the first set 6 games to 2. That match on court 1. Conchita Martinez a winner already. This match has been going on 55 minutes. And Conchita Martinez is probably had her shot already.
Well, things have definitely started to turn around for Anke Huber, and you always sensed it was a matter of time before Graf could get her rhythm and feel.
Now Graf is going to complain. Donna Butler will take another walk. Premier service. That means that that complaint was agreed to by the chair umpire, and she'll serve 2.
30.
Nice patient point from Steffi Graf there. She got a lot of depth, and with that backhand slice, it's been missing for her earlier in this match, and now she's starting to connect on that, and it's staying good and deep for her. 30 love.
France again.
It has been a terribly played match, hasn't it? I mean, just far too many unforced errors from both players. 23 from Graf, 25 from Huber. It's just a matter of who's going to make the error first. Huber's all at sea, and Graf just doesn't have her game together. Another unforced error from Huber, and Graf has got game point. She leads 3-1, and she won the first set 6-4. Huber's changing rackets.
Yeah, Graf has really not been happy with the way she's played throughout this tournament. She had a tough first round match with Inez Gorochitegi, who's ranked 28 in the world, and it was always going to be a tough match. But Graf is highly critical of most of her performances, and she thought she played not well, made way too many unforced errors, was trying to rush things too much.
She's got through pretty easily. She beat Gorochitegi in the first round, and then Begaro in the second round, and Baudone from Italy 2-1 in the third round. So she has not really been tested yet, but Conchita Martinez is in her half of the draw, and she could have to play Sabatini before that. More after this. We'll be taking you out to Court A to check up on Boris Becker and his brave effort to try to stay in the French Championships, down 2 sets from yesterday. But let's check in on Steffi Graf first. Court Central, she's serving with a 4-1, at least she's receiving with a 4-1 lead.
15-0.
Gets it.
15-all.
She read it well, but too much heat from the Huber forehand.
We may be getting just a little bit ahead of ourselves, Betsy, but I think we're going to see a semi-final here between Conchita Martinez and Steffi Graf. They've played 11 times. Conchita's only ever beaten her once.
Yeah, that was on an indoor surface, and it was... Good point from Huber. Just to finish up on that point, that was after Graf had been out for several weeks with her foot operation. It was her first tournament back, and Conchita Martinez was able to get her only win over Steffi Graf. Good chasing from Graf there, but it falls too long.
Game point Huber.
Mademoiselle Huber, balle neuve, s'il vous plaît.
Huber wins another one. It's 4-2.
Mademoiselle
First
Graf, main
set,
coverage is at
she
2.
got the break on Graf. She was ahead. She got the break on Graf a second time, but lost her serve 3 times in the set and lost it 6-4. Now Graf leads 4-2, and she will serve. This is Court Central at Stade Roland Garros.
0-15.
Huber takes the ball so early, and when she's able to get the good depth like that, she's really pressuring Graf. Got the line. You've got to go for the lines against Graf. It's her mom, Heidi. Steffi moves so well that so many times opponents tend to press. Huber's aiming for the lines, and she's getting them.
Of 30. This is the critical time, though. She's had problems when she's seen light at the end of the tunnel. This is another of those times. Long.
We've talked about how hard it is for Anke Huber to beat Steffi. She's never been able to do that in 8 tries. She has taken a set off of her. Those are the feet of Anke Huber. And they are not as quick and nimble as Graf's. Most people's aren't.
Anke's boyfriend Medvedev of Ukraine will be on this same court later today, maybe a lot later. 4th match on. This is the first match of the day.
Steffi saw it out, and it didn't get the call right away.
Now Huber is going to ask the ref to get out of her chair and check it.
And Donna Ring is getting a workout today and confirms that it is indeed out. So Graf from love 30 is back at 30 all. This is a big game. She does not want to get broken here. She just got the 1 break. She'd love to hold and close out this match.
30 all. Got the line. Oh, that's long. It was the right shot, too, because Steffi wasn't anywhere near that one. About 6 inches long, giving her a chance here for the break. Look at this.
And it's really been Huber who has been trying to control the points, and it's also been Huber that's been coming up with some of the errors. So from love 30, it's now game point.
Je, Mademoiselle Graf.
Well, she had a chance, as you just said, and then 4 in a row for Graf, and again, she is looking at Graf's back. It's 5-2 Graf and 1 set to love. Boris Becker has won the first game in his comeback attempt against Voinea of Romania, 1 game to love, but he's down 2 sets to love. And then Virginia Ruana Pascal is leading 3 games to love against Roxana Dragomir of Romania in the 2nd set. Dragomir won the first set 6-2.
Can 0.
Five games to 2 for Graf here. Huber trying to stay in the match. Graf won the first set 6-4. 15 love. 15 all. Betsy, you've talked about her injuries lately and in the past. She's had, I'm talking about Graf now, she's had a lot of injuries and just a lot of problems with flu-like things as well.
Yeah, she's had a lot of struggles, and she has come through them all remarkably well. She cares far more about her health, and I remember when she was getting asked a lot about being ranked #1, how important is that to you, especially since she held it for so long, and she and Sanchez Vicario have swapped back and forth 6 different times this year. The #1 spot. Steffi Graf at the moment is #2 in the world.
2 points from the match here against Huber.
And she made a big point that her health is far more important to her.
Yeah, she was saying it's earlier this year far more important than being #1 or #2 in the world. She wasn't thinking about that as much as just getting back in shape. She used to suffer, as I remember, from allergies here at the French too.
Yeah, she really had a hard time last year, hurting her back during the U.S. Open.
40-30.
Game point Huber.
She was playing Sanchez Vicario in the final and had won the first set easily. And Sanchez Vicario battled back, and it was at some point during that match that Graf stretched and hurt her back.
Je, Mademoiselle Huber.
So Huber hangs on. Still only 1 break. Graf will serve at 5-3.
Men Sanchez à 3.
27 unforced errors from Graf after that backhand that sailed wide, and 31 unforced errors for Huber. Graf serving for the match.
Another winner from Anke Huber, and the interesting statistic in this match is the number of winners that Anke Huber has been able to get by Graf. And that makes number 10, 6 coming off the forehand side. Graf only has 3 winners, and all 3 of those have been on the forehand.
Love 15.
Deuxième service.
She has had so many chances on Graf's serve, but then when she gets to this position here, Bud Collins is watching. Writer for the Boston Globe and commentator for NBC.
Well, it hasn't happened very often in this match, but because really these points have been determined more with unforced errors than forced errors, but that was a forced error. Graf made Huber stretch out on that forehand side.
15-30.
The only Grand Slam Graf was able to win last year was the Australian Open at the beginning of the year. Was denied the French Open by Mary Pierce, the U.S. Open by Sanchez Vicario in the final.
Well, she squanders another chance. She's had more chances than a zebra has spots and just has not been able to convert. Here is 30 all, 5-3 Graf, 2 points away from the match. A breakpoint chance now for Huber. Reminder, the winner of this match will take on either Gabriela Sabatini who's the number 8 seed, or Kyoko Nagatsuka of Japan. There are 3 Japanese in the last 16 here at the French. That's the first time that's ever happened. Boy, that was a good change of pace. I thought Huber had hit that shot, played it exactly right, and Graf came up with a passing shot slice, but it was so well placed. Huber was looking for the cross. Look.
Well, it was probably smart of Graf to try the slice. She didn't really get herself in great position to play the backhand topspin, and she had played the slice several times throughout the rally. So a break point saved.
Deuce. Serving at 5-3 and 1 set to love.
Now some big hitting from Huber, who has been the one really trying to control points out here.
Avantage, Mademoiselle Huber.
So a second break chance for Huber to get a break back.
Égalité.
That slice stayed down very low. But I don't think Huber was exactly happy about the fact she made an unforced error on a break point. She's down a break.
Deuce. Get to the brink, Huber, but just can't take that final step.
Avantage, Mademoiselle Huber.
Another chance for Huber. This is her 3rd break point of this game.
Première série.
There is the break for Huber. She broke a couple of times in the first set. That's her first of the second set. We're back on serve now. Huber will serve trailing 4-5 second set. She lost. Becker leads Voinia of Romania 3-2 in the 3rd set. He's down 2 sets to love, 6-3 and 6-4. It's going to be interesting to follow that. We will get to it. First of all, though, let's watch Anke Huber try to stay in the match on Court Central against Steffi Graf. It's 15-love in this game. She's down 4-5 and down a set. Philippe Chatrier closest to you. Former president of the French Federation. He did so much for French tennis. He's now on the Olympic Committee.
Well, Graf set that point up well. She had Huber out of the court, and Heidi, Steffi's mom, is also shaking her head. Graf led 5-2 in this set. Huber held and just broke Graf as she served for the match.
Now 30-love Huber.
Well, another error from Graf, and she's making this much more difficult, and she needs to. "34 unforced errors from Steffi Graf."
It's 5 games all in this match. Now let's go to Mary Carrillo to talk about what's happening on court 1, Mary.
Thanks, Cliff. What a change in scenes on this court 1. You could serving there is Virginia Ruano Pascual. She had lost the first set to Roxana Dragomir. Now she's up. In fact, she's trying to serve for set 2. She's been all over this court 1 court trying to fight, and you can see it by her heavily bandaged legs. Nicely done. What a good little comeback for Ruano Pascual, taking the middle set at love. And they both have a real big chance of getting into their first big Grand Slam quarterfinal. Again, you can see the bandages on her legs. She's trying very, very hard. She knows this is a fantastic chance. This was the part of the draw that lost seeds Maleva and Sawamatsu. Let's go back to court central.
15 all. Huber is circling the mark, so Graf is going to accept that, and it's 15-30. Here's a chance for Huber at 5 games all second set. Oh, that's a super passing shot from Graf. Topspin off the backhand side, as she will do on the pass, and it worked beautifully. 30 all.
This is the one you were referring to earlier, Cliff, wasn't it? What
Yep.
Graf hasn't been doing very much of, and she doesn't do it often on this surface, but Huber came in there and left some opening cross court. So Graf at 30 all here. She served for this match at 5-3. Graf has not had an easy service game in this entire second set.
Well, she's been down just about every time, hasn't she? Only been broken once so far. Game point, Graf. Oh yeah, that's excellent. Graf was looking for that two-hander down the line. It's impossible to pick. And Huber just went back cross-court.
Huber doing a very good job off the return of serve. You can see just immediately what a defensive position Graf Kitzer is put into. Back to deuce.
Avantage, Mademoiselle Graf.
Game point, Graf. That's wide. Yeah, Graf has taken a peek, and Anke Huber circles the mark, so that should satisfy Graf, and it does. So she will go to serve at deuce. There are 5 Grand Slam title holders alive still Sanchez Vaccaro, an easy winner today. Graf, Mary Pierce, who won the Australian. Conchita Martinez, who won Wimbledon last year, and Sabatini, who won the US Open.
Well, a good forcing point from Steffi Graf, and she hasn't had many of these. It's been Huber who's been trying to control and dictate the play out here. That forcing forehand sets up an easy overhead. So another game point for Graf. Good concentration. I wish she'd get herself up there so she could play more of those.
Nice point. Both players, Graf eventually finding the open court with the drop shot. Huber was out of court. It's 6-5 for Graf on serve. Huber will serve. She's down a set. On court A, Becker and Adrian Voynier, 3 games all. Remember, Voynier won the first 2 sets, 6-3 and 6-4 yesterday before darkness halted play. Sergio Bruguera and Brett Stephen of New Zealand have just made their way to court number 2. Score when they finished yesterday, Bruguera 2 sets and 3 games all in the 3rd set. We'll be checking in on court A just as soon as this match is over. Huber serving to stay in the match.
The
errors from Anke Huber have come when Graf has been able to keep that slice very low. Puts it in an awkward position for Anke Huber. Steffi Graf led 5-2 in the 2nd set. Served forward at 5-3, got broken. She's been broken twice in this 2nd set.
Court long.
Graf was broken twice in the 1st set, just the one time here in the 2nd set. But Huber has made a pretty good comeback from 5-2, winning 3 games in a row. Graf just held, take the 6-5 lead.
15-all.
On again.
Well, she plays quickly, doesn't she? She does everything, everything quickly. She even does her press conferences quickly.
She just as soon not do them. Drop shot, but she'll get this. Even then, Huber was there, just didn't make the shot. She's not too comfortable at the net, is she?
No, she's not at all. She's got those very extreme grips and doesn't do a very good job of changing them once she gets to the net. Unlike Graf, who has a perfect volleying skills and technique, and she should really get herself up there more than she does.
30-all. 2 points from the match again for Graf. Double fault will give her a match point.
Well, Huber looks upward as she serves her 7th double fault, and remember, she's never been able to beat Steffi Graf. And in fact, Graf is the only player in the top 5 that she has not beaten. Match point for Graf.
Oh, and she hits it cross-court into the net, and the match is over. That's 9 in a row for Steffi Graf over Anke Huber. In all the times they've met, Huber has only ever won one set. They played here 2 years ago, and in the semi-finals, Graf won that one easily. So Graf maintains her dominance, mental dominance more than anything, over Anke Huber, and it was not, Betsy Nagelson, a well-played match, was it?
No, it really wasn't. There were just so many unforced errors from both players, and not nearly the number of winners that we're used to seeing from Graf, but she got through it, and that's all that really matters to her. She's in the bottom half of the draw, and she will next meet the winner of the Sabatini-Nagatsuka match. And Steffi Graf will not be pleased with her performance here. It takes a lot to please Graf.
Graf is through. Kafelnikov will be up here next on this stadium court against Karecha. You've got Boris Becker on. You've got Gabriela Sabatini as well. Welcome back to our coverage of the French Championships, everybody. Take a look at the bottom half of the draw. It is Dragomir who has a 3-game-to-love lead over Ruana Pascal. That match is going on now, and we'll keep updating you. That's in the third set. Martinez is through. Gabriela Sabatini and Kyoko Nagatsuka will play later today to take on the Steffi Graf, who took out Anke Huber today in straight sets. That's how the bottom half of this draw looks. Conchita Martinez looking very strong in her section, and so is Steffi Graf. I think you'll see them play the semi-final. Remember, this is just the bottom half of the draw.